welcome everyone to the first episode of On the Front Lines. Today we are with Dr. Ravikant Singh, who heads Doctors for You, which has responded to pretty much every disaster and emergency in the last decade. Welcome, Dr. Ravikant Singh. Today's episode will focus on the efforts that are going on the ground in the remotest regions of the country and in some of the most difficult places with respect to the COVID-19 situation. Doctors for You has been working in Bihar, in Assam, in Jammu and Kashmir, in slums of Mumbai to respond to this. And we'd like to know from Dr. Ravikant what the challenges are and what are some of the stories of inspiration, of hope that we can take from his experiences and what we as citizens can do to respond to this situation. Before this, Sartaj will, who's my co-host, will make a few announcements on how you can engage with this conversation today.
Thanks, Rishabh. Thanks, Dr. Ravikant, again for joining us. So we are multi-streaming across Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and Twitch. For the community watching, thank you for joining us. And you feel free to reply to the chat and comment section in any platform that you're watching. And across networks, our team is watching that feed, so that we'll then be able to, towards the end of the conversation, direct your questions for Dr. Ravikant and really make this into a two-way dialogue.
Thank you, Sartaj. Welcome, Dr. Ravikant. So tell us, ever since the COVID-19 outbreak that's been declared across the world, and ever since it's been declared as a pandemic, what's been keeping you busy and what all have you been doing as part of Doctors for You to respond to the situation?
Yeah, thanks, Rishabh, and thanks, Igumong, for inviting me for this talk. So, as you know, whenever major disaster occur in India, we respond. So, now we were also keenly observing the things going on in Wuhan since December. And but we also, in fact, we have not realized that this became the serious pandemic. Currently, we also started responding around March first week. Responding means we started preparing our team and to respond. And mainly our response started after Holi, after around 12th of March, when WHO declared it as a pandemic. Currently, we are involved in 6 states, and the major focus right now is in Delhi, Mumbai, and Bihar. Because these 3 places have unique problem. Apart from that, we are also responding to Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, Bandipora district, where we were working since 2015 after Kashmir flood, there also lots of cases are reported. So Jammu Kashmir, Kerala, Punjab are other states where Doctors for You responding currently, and we have around 150 members actively working on ground on COVID.
So, based on your experiences, since you've responded mostly in all crisis and disaster situations, and since you worked in some of these places like Bandipora and Jammu and Kashmir, in parts of Bihar, you've also been active in Assam for a long time, and you have a clinic in Mumbai. In all of these places, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing, which you would say are different from, let's say, regular disasters? When, say, a flood happens or when an earthquake happens, there are obviously certain challenges that the local medical system has to respond to. But what is different about this particular situation?
Yes, very good question. And this is unique, the unimaginable situation. In fact, If you ask me, we have not seen even 5% of this COVID-19 India response. Lots more is going to come over next few months. The major challenge with COVID is the threat to our own safety and security of our own worker, our doctor, nurses, paramedic staff, even the outreach worker who are like supposed to be least exposed to any hospital acquired infection. They are also at the higher risk. So many of our staff, they are reluctant to work, and in fact 4 of our staff, they said ki no, they are not going to work in COVID. So definitely there is a fear factor. That is the unique challenge which we have never faced. The second is the cost of these PPE, personal protective equipment. As you know, one of the all body suit coverall is it worked mainly for 6 hours, not more than that. So suppose in a hospital, 5 staff are working 24/7. So for each staff, you require minimum 3, ideally 4 sets of PPE equipment, and good quality PPE cost around 1,500 to 2,000 rupees minimum. So almost 6 to 8,000 rupees per day is just on PPE for one person involved in this work. Sometimes in fact, whatever the salary we are paying to the doctor, we are spending almost double or triple cost just on the personal protective equipment. So that is the cost part. Apart from that, even getting good quality PPE and in the required quantity and required place is very difficult. Like if suppose I have to send a supply from Delhi to Chhattisgarh Sahid Hospital or Bandipura District Hospital or Fatuha block in Patna, it's very difficult. In fact, no courier services are working currently. So we have hired one truck. Truck charge us 60,000 rupees just to supply material worth 8 lakh rupees material and 60,000 just to transport those material, because courier services get obstructed, and right now nobody is ready to accept. So this is another challenge. The fourth one is which has started coming up and probably is going to multiply manifold, is shortage of beds in hospital. Even in our rural hospital in Patna, we just have 20 beds, and we have to immediately expand that hospital to 50 bed capacity. Similarly, in urban health center Mankhurd, we have to expand it to 100 bed, and we just have 55 beds currently. So we are purchasing more beds, then finding vendor to supply these beds as soon as possible in this lockdown is a major challenge. So lots of logistics related challenge, lots of challenge related to safety security of the staff. And if you ask me to summarize the challenges, there are mainly 3: this the manpower, material and money. All three, these three M are very, very crucial in this pandemic.
I have a follow-up question. What is the situation, especially in the backward states, with respect to testing?
Very bad situation. Even in Mumbai, there are constraints of fund with the government and municipal corporation. So we have decided to, and actually it's a right strategy to test only those who are at the high risk, or those who are in direct contact with the confirmed cases and developed symptoms. If we start testing asymptomatic patient, it's very difficult. We will exhaust all our resources in testing only, and we will not able to buy PPE and other medicine equipment, ventilator, to save lives of the patient as well as our healthcare worker. So in other states like Bihar, Jharkhand, testing is even less. In fact, I'll tell you, if you see the just go back to China, it all started in November. Initially, they tried to hide it. Then by December, that thanks to that Dr. Lee, he became the whistleblower and shared this widely about this atypical pneumonia. And that's how at the end of December, China finally accepted and alerted the world. Unfortunately, what happened in India, because thanks to our highly irresponsible media houses, lots of them, I'm not say 100%, but bulk, almost 90-95% of the media houses, electronic maximum as well as the print media, they have created picture like general that the mindset in India, if anything is happening in China or Pakistan, just unko they start we start making memes, mockery of this thing. So nobody reported this outbreak correctly and highlighted the danger which it can produce, especially we share border with China also. So we are totally taken aback when on 11th of March, WHO declared this as a pandemic. So after that, government response was quite good, but I would say we are still behind the curve by minimum 2 to 3 weeks. If we have implemented this lockdown in the first week, because the first case India reported on 38th of January. So we did almost nothing for 6 weeks, and only after Holi and when lots of political things also going on that time, everything settled down. Then suddenly you realize, oh, now people are dying, and they are dying in countries like US, UK, Spain, Italy. So there is something serious. And for that, if you ask me, then I would say it's a mistake of our the bureaucrat and technocrat, not that much on the politician, because we can't expect Modi ji or any chief minister to expert on everything on public health and handling pandemic. Ideally, these institutions should have alerted in a correct way to the highest level possible. And that's why we lost the crucial 6 weeks time. After Holi, this lockdown announcement, we are trying to suppress it, but I'm sure that we will not able to suppress it completely now. And even if this continue, like every day now reporting, we are reporting more than 1100 to 1200 cases. And once this lockdown will be over, then there might be the explosive explosion of cases, especially in urban slums and rural area. If you see the Mumbai, almost all more than 70% wards of Mumbai became hotspot. And if you see carefully, all these hotspots are densely populated slum area, or the very high density ward. So that is clear that it spread very fast in dense and urban slum environment. Plus other challenges in Mumbai and Delhi, especially in Mumbai, In fact, in M ward only, there are more than 4,000 tuberculosis patients. Just tuberculosis, 4,000. More than 4,000 TB, more than 1,100 HIV cases, lots of diabetic. They are at very high risk, and if we are not able to separate all those confirmed cases immediately to a separate isolation center and start tracing the contact, it became very, very difficult for us to control in urban slums.
So, Dr. Ravikant, a few questions. What has been the caseload progression? Like how was it, say, in January on a per day basis that you were experiencing, and going forward, how big can this get?
So see, there are many predictions. You also must have received a few mathematical prediction predicted by many reputed institutes. So because of this lockdown and pretty severe lockdown, we are able to contain lots of cases. In fact, our joint secretary, Mr. Love Agarwal, we have already said that currently we have around 10-12,000 cases. Agar ye lockdown nahi hota, to probably we could have crossed more than 8 lakh cases just now only. So definitely because of this lockdown, we are able to reduce the load of cases significantly. But one thing you have to see that even 1% in India is more than 1.3 crore population. So suppose if we are able to contain 90% load, even 10% of the predicted low case load, it will overwhelm our health system capacity. Currently, we have just 20 lakh bed, normal indoor bed, 20 lakh 20,000 के round hai, and ICU beds is just 40,000, and for this COVID, we need at least 2 lakh bed with ICU. So we are sort of almost 50 to 60% beds. In fact, I'll tell you one interesting thing that Amitabh, Mr. Amitabh, CEO of Amitabh Kant, CEO of Niti Aayog, he said that around 25 to 30,000 ventilators in India currently are non-functional or just junk hai, unused hai. But see, 30,000 is a big number. हमारे पास 2 महीना टाइम था, फरवरी मार्च में अगर ये सब रिपेयर करवा लेते तो we would have in a much better position. 40 plus 30, we have at least 70,000 ventilator. But after the lockdown, we have 3 ambulances in Mumbai, and we are not able to use one ambulance because spare parts are not available. We have lost that critical around 6 to 8 week period where we could have prepared our system much better to handle this crisis. So this is the situation right now. Without building additional bed rapidly, we are not able to handle all the cases.
So just a quick follow-up question, Dr. Ravikant. What about you briefly mentioned the asymptomatic patients or carriers, so to say. The lockdown is going to last 3 to 6 weeks now. So this virus, I think, has a 2-week incubation period. What do you think what will we hopefully see right after May 3rd from the asymptomatic space?
Correct. So if you see in this, this is actually a viral disease, very simple viral influenza type disease. But the only thing is it has very high human to human transmission rate, and the mortality rate is almost 10 times of the normal influenza or swine flu type illness. So mortality rate is high and human to human transmission rate is high. So, but almost 80 to 90% cases, 80% will be totally fine. In fact, currently, now one of my junior, he is also suffering from corona. He's doing absolutely fine. No need for the admission. He is staying his house and self quarantine, self isolation. Quarantine to nahi bol sakte, self isolation, because he is a confirmed case. And in the last 5 days now, he is doing very well and totally asymptomatic. So we are going to see large number of these asymptomatic cases, and the problem is handling these 80% of the cases, because if we allow them to stay in the chawls or slums or houses where there is no separate room with toilet to keep them isolated, they are going to further spread the disease among the family member and neighbors. So that's why see, we are not like foreign western country where they have, everybody has separate room with attached toilet, all sort of thing. We have large number of population who are like 100, 150 or 200 square feet, the whole family from like 5-member to 15-member family, they are staying in one room. So for us, it's very important to isolate all these asymptomatic cases from congested, dense urban slum to a separate facility wherever possible. And all those places where, like in any middle class home, if they have 2 BHK or 3 BHK flat, and one person is COVID positive, then it's better to keep them at home only with attached toilet, and maybe a health worker or nurses can follow up daily and check the vital. That is going to be the way forward. In fact, WHO also already released this guideline, because after Ebola outbreak in Africa, they have used this, because there is no bed. So in Mumbai, since today, we are trying to find purchase, but the space is limited. Maximum in one hospital we can keep 100 or 150 beds, not more than that. But if you see the BMC data ward wise, like in M ward, already 92 cases are there, and we are not yet ready with the isolation center in many of the wards. So but it's going to be very challenging. It has already started getting very difficult to handle in Mumbai, Delhi. This disease progress slowly. So first 2 to 3 months to thoda dheere dheere chalega. But
so Swastika Rathi has asked, what is your estimate on months it will take for India to plateau with no new cases? And how can this be contained from rural areas once the lockdown is relaxed state-wise and migrants go home? Because it's quite complicated.
Yes, so this question is simple, but answer is very complicated. Right now, nobody can say that when this flat will be completely flattened. If I ask you, all of your viewer and everybody here on this platform, name me one country who can say that, except North Korea, of course, that they have contained this virus and there is no threat, everything is normal. Not even China, not even South Korea, not even Singapore or Hong Kong. They are also now receiving newer cases from the citizens coming from other areas. So if you are thinking that this is going to get solved in next 2-3, or just अब मोदी जी आएंगे and बोलेंगे कि yes, third में हो गया, everything is fine, now you can go away, we have won this war, that is not going to happen. And lots of things are unpredictable. This is uncertain time, and when in these uncertain time, there are multiple uncertain things are interacting in a very uncertain way. So it's very difficult to predict exactly when this flat is going to flatten totally. I would say minimum it will take 6 months. If we do excellent work, we all join whatever capacity. If we all join together and fight this virus together, everywhere, right from the village level to Mumbai or any other metropolitan, then probably we will able to flatten the curve in over next 5 to 6 months. Definitely not before August. Uh, this is best case scenario. Worst case scenario may it can go on till 2021 also. Till the time we have some really highly efficacious vaccine. I'll tell you one very important thing which you all should understand. बहुत सारे लोगों को लगता है that कि if my state will control, we will be at the safe, or if US is able to control, then US will be totally safe. It's not like that. We have to eliminate this virus totally or control this totally. Even a single case is as equal threat as 1 lakh cases. So what happen if we keep this virus circulated in any of country or any of the slum or any of the refugee camp across the globe? There are high chances that this virus might mutate, and it might mutate for more aggressive version, or it became more aggressive and became more infectious or more lethal. In that case, what will happen, the vaccine which we have produced, like suppose in 2020, and in by 2021 some virus COVID strain in say Nigeria get mutated, then again that became the epicenter and it started. So then virus that vaccine will not be effective again. And so that's why it's very important to contain this virus across the globe. We can't say कि ओ ये तो इंडिया का या मुंबई का या मुंबई में M ward का problem है, वो लोग देखे. Rest we can sleep peacefully. It's not like that.
Clearly, there are two types of issues. One is with respect to like you said, people, especially even frontline staff and doctors, are scared of confronting this disease, and so is society at large. We've been hearing several cases where some form of discrimination is happening, whether it's with frontline staff, where societies are saying that why are doctors entering the society after going to the hospital or after being in the corona ward. The other kind of discrimination that we're also seeing is with people based on existing fault lines, whether it's caste-related discrimination, religious discrimination, whether it's racial discrimination, especially with people from the Northeast, often facing the brunt of of this disease, and people saying that you're the ones who've got this disease to us. What do you feel can be done by society, by people, to face this discrimination? In fact, even very recently in parts of rural Bihar, we heard cases where people living in quarantine are going to their houses to have food because they don't want to eat food cooked by a scheduled caste. So there are these existing fault lines that are becoming even more deep in this situation. Based on your experiences with previous disasters and the current work that you're doing, what do you think we can do to be a more solid, a more united society?
Correct. So there are two parts of your this question. The first is regarding the fear. So the fear is genuine, and in fact, I used to say that जो डर गया वो बच गया. जो डर गया वो बच गया. ये बहुत जरूरी है. In fact, this is not only for the general public, but the all health worker, including doctor, nurses, outreach worker, field staff, they should be very, very careful. If you take it lightly, then nobody knows that when you are going to face contract this virus. So it's very important to be alert and all the time and take proper precaution, especially if you are working in a hospital setup or working in a area where there are a large number of positive cases, like in Mumbai slum. Any organization, forget about medical, if you are doing food distribution or other, you have to maintain social distancing. You have to focus on wash your hands is most important, and then save your face, especially mouth, nose, and eye, because one thing you have to understand, this is a basically virus is like a inert powder kind of thing. It get inactivated. Actually, it's not a living organism. For those who are not from medical background, this is just a protein, lipid, and protein particle. It get activated when it bind to our mucosa, like mouth, nasal cavity, pharynx, or eye, or any cut mark on our body. Then only it get activated and able to enter inside the cell. And if you use any kind of soap or surf excel is the best disinfectant. Agar kuch bhi na ho, then wash your hand with normal surf or wash your clothes. That is equally fine, at least for those who are not dealing inside the hospital or handling ये cases. So डरना बहुत जरूरी है, alert रहना बहुत जरूरी है, wash your hand, protect your face. These are the three key things which we all should remember. Now coming to the discrimination. So see, discrimination is already in India everywhere. You forget about the people in rural area or slum. Even the highly educated, there are many medical colleges, engineering colleges, where students have their own caste-wise mess. So you can't change this thing in one day, and this is not the time to discuss too much on this. Important thing is how to provide the food and modified your response so that and we have lots of studies and lots of social scientists working on it, and there are many ways to handle all these things on ground, but many things are beyond our control. And one thing you have to realize that we are suffering, and mainly because of these developmental deficit, and that's why we have to focus more on education, health of the people, because if your large number of society is illiterate or just degree hai but real sense of education nahi hai, then you are going to see this situation. So I don't see that in this situation we have so much time, energy, and manpower to work on discrimination and other thing. It's right now, if you ask me as a doctor, the two things is most important. Let's not let any of our Indian citizen sleep hungry. We have 80 to 90 million ton of grains in FCI go down. So पैसे के साथ साथ जो है ना, it's not only food and cash, food or cash. It should be food and cash. Food be important hai, and little bit cash is also important. One thing you have to realize that in India at any point of the time, in fact only in Bihar 9 lakh children, almost 1 million children are severely malnourished, and even a normal child in a disaster situation can become malnourished in just 2 weeks or 1 episode or 2 episode of diarrhea is good enough to make a normal child to become malnourished. And 9 lakh already severely malnourished hai. Unko agar bhojan nahi milega, they became critically ill and they will die first, and they will not count it as even COVID death. So all deaths are also, all these deaths are going to be related to COVID. So the two thing is provide the food ration more than money to every citizen, whether it's a homeless, migrant, rural, urban, slums, जो भी रह रहे हैं उनको. And the second is we have to protect our protector. You have to provide as a society, it's our responsibility to like जब war होता है तो we donate, we whatever the army or defense personnel ask, we provide them. We provide astra shastra, sara, gola, barud, rocket, guns. So for doctors right now, the most important is this mask, PPE, gloves, all the. अगर इसका shortage हो गया, then it will be like double burden. We already facing shortage of doctors, and जिस तरह से मुंबई में 3-4 बड़े हॉस्पिटल लॉकडाउन में चले गए हैं. So अगर ऐसा सिचुएशन रहेगा तो सब कुछ होते हुए we will going to lose our citizens.
Thank you so much. There's a question that's come from the audience, which I just want to put out there. This is from Vijay Ganesh. In these times when the political leaders are being advised by top medicos of the country, what is stopping the top medical bodies across state governments from copying the Kerala model, where there is clear data that they have already flattened the curve?
Yeah, very good question. And in fact, I was about to discuss that the only bright star in India right now is the Kerala, and probably Tamil Nadu also. I hope that definitely suddenly the cases increase, but I'm very hopeful that within next 5 to 6 months, probably Tamil Nadu also able to win this war. But one thing you have to see, why Kerala is able to do this. It's not just because of the government response or the civil society, the youth, every citizen of the Kerala is so dedicated. They are working so hard and they don't wait कि government बोलेगा तब हम लोग start करेंगे. In fact, I'll tell you, आज से almost since last 1 month, I am also part of WhatsApp group of many WhatsApp group in Kerala, and there are many students who were stranded in Italy, Rome. They are from Kerala and nearby state. I'm happy to share with you that इतने सारे लोग रात रात भर जाग करके ना, they were working on WhatsApp. In fact, Professor Menon, VC Menon, he was at the age of 70. He was also awake, and like they are working like I can't explain. In fact, I don't have that stamina. So the kind of human resources Kerala have, sorry to say, no other state can match with the Kerala. I really salute the spirit of the Kerala people and all the government, NGO. They are so supportive. They are working together. The whole environment in Kerala and the way government work is very corporate style, very professional. I'm very much surprised when I responded to Kerala flood in 2017. I saw this. So don't compare with Kerala. We try to copy, but I really afraid that we will be able to 100% implement Kerala model in any of the state. Maybe Kashmir and northeastern state have like the closest to the Kerala, they can handle, but not other state.
Okay. There is a lot of scarcity of beds and hospitals that you've spoken about. Is there a possibility to create alternate structures or temporary structures that can be used to handle this load? And if there is, how can that be implemented, and what would be the quickest way to do this?
Very good question. So basically, possibility की तो अब बात ही नहीं है. This is necessity. We have to do that, and we have to make this structure with a material which can be supplied very fast or produced very fast, and it should be established within week, not weeks, within week. If we are able to set up within 4-5 days, that is great. And I'll tell you some of the feature जो कि होना चाहिए इसमें. It does not require air conditioning, just good ventilation. If we able to provide for quarantine center, even common toilet is fine. For isolation center, if we are able to provide separate toilet with each cubicle, that is very good. But I'm afraid that we have that much resources that we would be able to provide every patient with separate toilet. But in isolation center, the number of toilets should be high. The area should be well ventilated. It should be built within like 4-5 days. The flows, the entry and exit should be in unidirection. And because right now is summers has already started, so the thermal regulation inside the I won't say that AC होना चाहिए, but at least whatever, अगर below 30 temperature रख पाते हैं, that is excellent. 30-32 is a very good thing. And plus if you are building isolation center, then think about the health worker. Ideally, if a doctor, nurses, sweeper, and other person working in isolation center, they work for 2 weeks, then after 2 weeks, they should be quarantined for 2 weeks, and they should stay in that hospital only. They can't go back home. If you send doctor, nurses every day, 8-hour duty, go home, and then come back, then there are high chances that infection can move from hospital to the doctor nurse's family, and vice versa also. So ideally we should provide when you design this kind of facility, think about accommodation of doctor, nurses, and all other staff also. So at least if you are building 100-bed facility, then keep 15 or 20 beds separate for the doctor, nurses, and other paramedical staff.
Dr. Ravikant, a question you had mentioned before that, the virus is mutating and it's always possible for that to happen. Now, most studies say that the vaccine is quite a while away, 14 months, 16 months away from mass adoption. So should we be expecting multiple waves of this pandemic? And also, how do we deal with this? Because we've been in almost a 6-week lockdown now. So what is the roadmap, at least from a medical perspective, that we should prepare for as normal everyday citizens?
Correct. So मैं फिर अगेन मैं बोलूंगा कि जो लोग वैक्सीन के भरोसे बैठे हैं ना, उनको मैं एक चीज बता देता हूँ. वैक्सीन बनने में, इफ देयर वाज वन वेरी गुड वीडियो, हजारों साल से जो है ना, लाइक टीवी का जो बीसीजी वैक्सीन है, इट टुक so many thousand years to develop. We were knowing that it's a tuberculosis and we need to develop some medicine or vaccine for that, but it took a lot. The fastest vaccines we are able to produce, which is effective, I think it's for swine flu, and that also took around 4 to 5 years. उससे पहले तो there is no chance. जो बोल रहे हैं लोग दैट कि 1 साल या 1.5 साल में हो जाएगा, दैट इज लाइक ट्रायल के लिए वैक्सीन. प्रोबेबली उसका एफिकेसी चेक मींस टू बी 100% श्योर दैट यस दिस वैक्सीन इज गोइंग टू सेव अस, it will take at least 3 to 4 years, not before that. Trial का आ जाएगा, but again there will be chances that इसका side effect is not known. Like for swine flu vaccine, there was many doctors, nurses, they refuse taking swine flu vaccine. When I was in KEM, I worked for swine flu also. I only refused to take swine flu vaccine because उसमें था एक sudden death का भी जो है ना 10 लाख में एक चांस. So but 10 लाख में एक भी कौन होगा? अगर मेरे साथ हुआ तो मैं तो 100% गया ना. So that is the thing. So to be very much sure that this vaccine is safe, it will take at least 4 to 5 years. So Don't wait for the vaccine. Fight this war as much as possible and try to eliminate this as soon as possible, and stay home. Follow physical, social distancing, hand wash, proper protection, and change the way we are living. We should move toward the Gandhian way of living and thinking. जियो और जीने दो. Our lifestyle should be simple. अभी सब लोग रह रहे हैं ना घर में, कितने ये करके, एटलीस्ट दोज हु आर मिडिल क्लास एंड जिनको फूड का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, they are eating, so we can live with a minimal resources. So we should try to change our way. And another very important thing I want to highlight, that it's a high time that government of India should start thinking of building Indian public health services, just like IAS officer, IPS officer, Indian Forest Services, customs, railway. मीन्स ये सब इम्पोर्टेंट है, एंड हेल्थ इतना कोई इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. आप मीन्स हिस्ट्री पढ़ करके जो IAS बन गया है, एंड ही इज लीडिंग द होल स्टेट रिस्पॉन्स, हिस्ट्री वाला बंदा, उसको क्या पता है? तो यही होगा. वी आर इन दिस मेस प्रिसाइजली बिकॉज द एपिडेमियोलॉजिकल इंटेलिजेंस जो होना चाहिए था, आवर bureaucrat does not have, and I'm not believing that वो उनका part नहीं है. They are a good administrator. If you see in India, there are multiple agencies, NDMA, National Disaster Man. You will be surprised to know there is not a single doctor even right now in NDMA. और जो पहले थे भी, they are not so qualified just because किसी का relative है, they are there. Most of them are retired person. I won't say कि retire हैं तो ये है, but not competent. So we have to develop Indian public health services just like IAS officer, and young bright mind को जो है ना, we have to bring. And currently if you see ICMR, ICMR became more or less nodal, जबकि ICMR कहीं रहता ही नहीं. This is just for research. NDMA बिल्कुल sideline पे चला गया है. The secretary is coming and facing the media. So kahin na kahin there is no, NCDC is also there, but the kind of leadership which country required right now is totally lacking. US की अगर बात करें तो most of you are aware about Dr. Fauci in US, but can you name one doctor in India who is like जिसकी बात कोई सुने? None. Because आज वो कुछ बोलता है, कल वो कुछ बोलता है, और कोई so we need to seriously introspect this. And in fact I am thinking of starting one campaign, and not right now, maybe after, once ये थोड़ा settle down हो जाए, and we'll write to Prime Minister to include Indian public health services in the UPSC exam, and at least keep 2% or 5% seat reserved for the young public health professionals, and train them in best institute across the globe, and unko lagaiye. Otherwise, if you see in last 20 years, we have seen many emerging diseases. Pichle swine flu, this SARS, ये सब पिछले 10-15 साल में. And there is no, another thing, there is no guarantee कि ये कोविड ठीक हो गया तो अगला कोविड जो है अगले साल नहीं आएगा. मे बी इससे भी कोविड का भी कोई बड़ा जो है मच डेंजरस वर्जन कैन अगेन prop up in China or any other country, any of the slums in India also, or Indonesia, Brazil, and it can create mayhem like this only. So situation is very serious, and we have to think seriously.
So
think critically.
So one last piece of sort of questioning for you before we close this webinar. Do you, apart from Kerala, do you hear or see positive instances of public or governments or civil society, um, uh, tackling this disease positively or this situation positively? And finally, how would you like us as citizens to support doctors or frontline medical staff, anyone who's on the front line?
So, as I said, जिस तरह से the way Kerala is working and the whole the Kerala is active, I'm afraid that I don't think maybe in other South Indian state, like I said, Tamil Nadu and a few Gujarat, maybe they have started testing in a big way. But not many states are following that and capability to replicate Kerala model. Yes, there are many individual or NGO or civil society organization. They themselves coming up with the newer and innovative idea or approach, and many of the engineers, they are developing apps and ये, but I'm really afraid that ये app और mobile से बहुत ज़्यादा कुछ होने वाला है. The urgent need is food and the safety security of the doctors and our paramedical staff. So coming to the second part of your question, for civil society organization and other corporate house or anybody who wants to support, they should support our doctor, nurses, health worker, and keep them motivated, provide whatever they need. Don't cut their salary or remove them, and don't be harsh to them. Waive off their room rental. They are not going to spread the coronavirus everybody, and usually all these spread it happen initial few weeks or month जब लोग उतने alert नहीं होते हैं. Now everybody is very much alert, and no doctors want to get infected and then infect other people in the community. So my only request is just focus on food and the medical health workforce, because we are fighting for you at the front line, just like the defense personnel in a routine war. So consider we as a defense personnel, and whatever we need for our security, the defense person need bulletproof jacket, we need the PPE. So provide us that, and we will make sure that we will give our best. And in fact, I am not exaggerating. Many of the doctors who are in touch with us, they are ready to work, but they are ready to sacrifice their life. But the main thing is PPE. If they don't feel protected, it's very difficult, and especially for the doctor with family, children. You see, means young banda hai to shaheed ho sakta hai, but if you have family, it's these are the real concern. We can't take it lightly.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ravikant, for this session. I hope we were able to answer all audience questions. Sartaj, is there any audience question that is pending that needs to be asked?
I think we've covered at least most of them in the interest of time also. Yeah.
You can mail me also if there are any other question. I would be happy to reply to all of them.
Sure. I also wanted to thank Gaganpreet from Signable for her generous support in making this content accessible to those who need it. So thank you. And thank you to Includo.world for their support in making this possible.
And thank you, Sartaj and Rishabh, for this wonderful initiative, because these things need to be discussed, and people should be aware. Then only we can protect ourselves and nation.
Thank you so much.